I put it in the wrong spot, so I had to redo the whole thing. I just went down below mine, and luckily Juliana was sitting around, and I went over to talk to her. and-
You were lucky, they gave you another ballot.
Yeah. She said, "You're voting against yourself." Well, I had shut mine off, and shut her off, and did the same problem. It's like, I didn't know.
That's funny. She got 11 votes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So you needed one.
I voted
so.
twice.
Oh, I see you guys. Okay, cool. I have the video on. I'm gonna mute myself until you guys need me, but I'm here.
That's Juliana on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm the designated
Yes.
meeting runner today, since Julianna's on the phone. So call the meeting to order at 6:31. First item is approval of the October 9th, 2025 meeting minutes. Anybody have any
So moved.
complaints, corrections?
I do, I have a couple corrections. Nancy Price, is it prices or price?
Price.
And within, not within our budget.
Where are you on here?
So on number 3, Director's Report A, Nancy Price has an S at the end of her name.
Is that in the meeting minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
On number 3, Director's Report C, within, not within our budget. And under number 5, unfinished business C, E. Morgan met with current First Selectman Irene Haynes and wants, not want, to form.
What were the first two?
The first 2 was number 3A, Nancy Price, her last name needs to be corrected. And under number 3C, within our budget, not within our budget.
Okay, before we get too long, can we have somebody take meeting minutes?
I can do
I do it for the governance, so.
I can do it for governance and just email. I forget to learn all that fancy stuff you do.
I got it down now, not to worry.
Can those corrected minutes be approved? Because I have to send them to the state, Michelle.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
approve them with corrections.
So can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes with the changes?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
Pete, repeat.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was unanimous. The director's report?
Okay. Well, congratulations to our trustees that won their elections, Dawn, Carrie, and Laurel. I think two of those were appointed first and now have actually won an election, so officially here as elected trustees, so thank you. I attended two Meet the Candidate events for the first selectman in October, and talked with both Tanya and Todd about the importance of building a new library. Todd is in favor of beginning the work to build a new library and agrees that the first step is to form a library building committee, and that committee can begin the work of recommending the best location and developing the specifications needed to apply for a grant. The Connecticut State Library grant is funded by the state and is now up to $2 million. The application requires many details to meet these requirements, so we really have a lot of work to do before we can even begin to apply for the grant. And then once the grant is in application format. It still is a ton of work before you actually get to submit it. So we have a long road ahead of us, and it won't cost anything toward the town until we actually have a referendum with all of these details worked out, which I guess would take probably at least 2 years to do the work that needs to be done. The FY26 budget began on July 1st, and we've spent 30.2% through November 7th, so we're staying within our budget. We had a ton of events in October. October, I think, is our biggest event month. We had the Safe Halloween event at the Municipal Office Complex, which was a big success. Over 900 children and caretakers went through. And I had 2 photos that I sent out. We also had the Half-Pipe Hamlet, which is held at the Rathbun by the Rathbun Friends, and they coordinate with the Economic Development Commission to coordinate it with their Halloween event in the village, and it was so popular. People had a great time at it, and there was transportation because the Parks and Rec, the Economic Development Commission had actually hired a hayride, so the people that were down at the airport participating in that could take a hayride up to the library where there was face painting and hula hooping and a costume parade and just a lot of fun. People really enjoyed it. Families commented on that. We had at least 300 kids that came to that.
300?
Yeah. So, and we're also coordinating with Parks and Rec for the Light Up the Green holiday event, which is on December 5th. We're going to help decorate the Santa room and the East Haddam Free Public Library branch in Mood is donating small toys for Mrs. Claus to hand out. Our own Dawn Barlow, who's chair of the trustees, will be Mrs. Claus again this year and ride with him in the fire truck to open the festivities. And Parks and Rec has asked also for an additional donation of $250 because they need to replace some of the current backdrops and lights and purchase lots of supplies. And we all know that candy has gone way up in price, among other things. And the library will be publicized as a major sponsor. We also had an author showcase, which was run by the Friends, also very popular. And they'll report more on that when they give their reports. Helen Charnoff, one of the authors at that event, also did an author talk at the Rathbun Library yesterday. She's an East Haddam resident, and it was her mother that she wrote the story about, who survived the World War II war in Ukraine, and she was having to translate. She was fluent in both in Russian and in German, and so she has a ton of stories that told of her bravery. So it was great to hear Helen talk about her own mother going through this and her surviving it all and arriving in this country with a satchel of clothes in one hand and her Russian typewriter in the other. And then she went upstairs and began typing away her memories of what she had gone through. And that's the basis of the book that Helen wrote. So it's really fascinating. We also had a fire cider, which I had never heard of. Apparently it's a new thing. It's vinegar, you know, it's a special kind of vinegar along with all kinds of garlic and hot things and lemon and all things that boost your immune system. So you take an ounce of it in a day, and it helps. If you feel a cold coming on is when it's most effective. It kind of fights off the cold and boosts your immune system at the same time. You can buy it actually in stores. It's not it's something like buying cider. You know, there's different brands of cider. There's different brands of fire cider. But what we made was just one particular recipe, and we put it out on the internet to open it up to people. And immediately, 12 people signed up. It was sold out the first day we advertised it, and they all showed up. So
That's good.
And it was fun. We had a good time, and everybody went home. They brought in their own jars, and we provided the ingredients, and then they left and brought them home, and then you let them brew for about a month, shaking them periodically, and then you strain out all the things we put in, and that's your fire cider. So it's an old home recipe sort of thing. The Lion Club is going to, again, display their auction items at the library, so you can either view them online or come into the library and see them in person. And they will start putting them in the library on November 22nd, and the auction starts on November 24th, and then they have their party and the drawings on December 5th at the Rathbun. The holiday market is going to be on November 22nd, and that's run by the Rathbun Library also. It's from 10 to 3. And they've been doing it for a long time. They had it in the library, I think until last year was the first year that they decided to move it out of the library because it was so crowded. They used to have to take bookshelves down and move bookshelves out of the way in order to house it at the library. So they've started using both the Grange and the Old Town Hall and filling it. I can't remember how many they have, but I think it's over 20 vendors, local craftspeople selling their wares. So that's a good place to do some Christmas shopping. There are also, at the Buddhist branch, they have a monthly adult craft program that's almost always fully subscribed, so that's a fun hit. And I'm also a fun hit. In Anastasia, there's lots of teen programs there. That's where most of the teens go because they can walk there from the school. So that's kind of a school hangout after school. For them. And they've joined advisory group, is a team advisory group to other programs, and attached also her Woods program, which is a separate attachment here, but she also has a homeschool hangout, and she had one today at the Rathbun Library. I'd say about 12, 14 people that showed up for that to hang out, and she has toys available for them. She considers it their recess. School at home, and they can come to the library for recess. She had a family Halloween candy taste test, and what would you think might win the most flavorful Halloween? Reese's peanut butter. Yes, Reese's peanut butter.
I was going to say that.
It's my favorite too. I think it's you don't like it?
Did it match the national decision that Reese's peanut butter was
Oh, I
the
don't
favorite?
know.
Okay.
And then she had trick-or-treating at the library, so any leftover candy from the house, she was available with stickers for kids. Some kids don't want candy. When we were at the MLC, the 900 people were traveling through the municipal office complex for that, and there were kids that said, "Oh no, I don't want any candy. I'll take one of yours." We had sheets that had games and puzzles on it, and that's what they wanted. So.
Good.
I wouldn't say it was the majority at all by any means, but there were some for sure. And she is she's really enjoying the Speaking Neighbor program isn't selling as many tickets, that doesn't have as many, they're open, I shouldn't say. The Speed program is selling all their tickets, so they don't have very many empty seats left over to offer us vouchers for. So before they were offering us vouchers for every single night, at all week at a time, then they moved just to evening meetings. And now they're saying that as soon as they started advertising White Christmas, it is almost all sold out already. They've even expanded it so that they run until the 31st, but it's still almost all sold out. So they are going to give us one voucher a week instead of one for a voucher. One voucher is 2 tickets. So we thought rather than having people have to call like 10 in the morning or come to the library, which is what they used to do, we have this flurry of people with phone calls to keep track of, to give away the vouchers that we have. With only one, we thought we'll just do a drawing. So once a week, we're going to have a drawing at the library. Where people can come in anytime, put their name in the basket that we have. And then we'll draw one name and call that person. If they can't go to that production is available, then we'll put their name back in. So in the future one, call the next one. So anytime we have somebody that
That's great.
However, there's still a chance that that seat might be sold because they go immediately to the good school. Cash on production. They don't set aside any tickets for this, so it's only for appointments. And they could be not together, and they could be, it's, or something. But
Yeah,
they're free.
right. My
That's the
sister
point.
tried to get four
Construct
tickets
it.
together.
Okay, that's,
When my daughter called down, when she and her fiance had come down a few weeks ago, and looking for 3 tickets, and they were here, there, and all over the place, so she didn't get it. Because you want to be with whoever you were with.
the content. Under book distributor reviews, Baker and Taylor was the book distributor that many libraries used, most libraries. They have gone bankrupt.
That's just so disturbing to me,
I
because
know.
that's who was my major distributor when I was a librarian. Yeah.
They did a great job. They had a wonderful ordering page. Everything was so clear. They recommended titles to you. I guess they gave such great customer service. They weren't making enough money. I don't know.
It's so sad.
It's very sad. We're very disappointed. But they're gone. And so now, luckily, we were not using Baker Taylor.
That's why they're bankrupt.
Which is not as user-friendly, but at least I know how to use it. So you don't have to wait for a while. It does mean that some things may be delayed for a while because Ingram is now getting hundreds of new requests, and they sent out an email, urgent email saying, please note, we are taking in more customers than we've ever had, and we can handle it. We're going to be all ready for it, but along the way, we have to do a lot more processing of things that we haven't had to do before, just putting the plastic covers on the jackets and that sort of thing. It's easy to get robots to pull things off the shelf and box them up, but to do the detail work that libraries requires is a lot more, takes a lot more time. So they said it's going to take a while for them to gear all of that up. So they may be looking into this. For director projects, I have to send in our approved library policies that we talked about in the last meeting, and then post them on the website. I wrote this in August. I'm still collecting data for the library's annual report, and from what I've seen, usage is still continuing to increase, but the population of this town is actually going down, so I imagine at some point that's going to people of the city react to this. And I'll need to coordinate fall and winter weather events, collecting data for planning, and 26 budget. John is already giving me some great ideas and spreadsheets on how. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you for sending it so we could see it ahead of time.
Yes, I'm doing that now.
And print it ahead of time.
Evelyn, I just have one quick question.
Sure.
The first paragraph said the committee will begin the work of trying to find the best location. Does that mean that they're going to redo the work with the
Oh,
committee?
no, they'll still use the library study committee. That did not come up with a particular spot, other than the one they liked best was the one near the Great Hall. But they didn't say this is absolutely the best spot. They just said, of the spots that we found available. So that one looks good. But now 4 years have passed, so I don't know.
The mission wasn't to identify the spot, it was to identify possible multiple locations. So the committee looked at, because I was on it, the committee looked at both town properties and private properties but since there were multiple potential town properties, we couldn't make the case to go buy a piece of private property when the price would get inflated because the person that owned it would know the town was interested in it.
Yeah, like
So-
that corner property, it's so nice.
So, the report just said, these three potential locations, but it really is the building committee that needs to make the final decision. And when we turned the report over in 2021 to the town, the next step was the building committee. But that process died for whatever reason.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
But,
Are you finished? I thought you were
no,
finished.
no, go ahead.
Okay, I know that piece behind Luda Savings Bank, and I know that you said it has wetlands, but upon studying it, I believe the wetlands, there's enough land to build. So I would just like to see the committee revisit that piece of property, because it is close to the schools. You don't want to lose that piece.
Well, that was a topic that was discussed at the meetings. In fact, I asked a specific question because the charge for the committee was to find locations in the center of town. And my question was, do you mean the center of basically Moodus because of the proximity to the schools, or do you mean in the center of the town of East Haddam? And the answer was the center of the town of East Haddam, which is Mount Parnassus. So that's kind of what drove
Yeah.
the Grange being the top option because it's the closest to the center of town.
Can that be altered? So,
Sure.
yeah, so
Whatever.
I think that's what we
The,
need to do. alter it.
the reason that held sway with the committee is there were people from Lake Hayward and Adeline out toward Salem, and they went, we never go into this. So, now
I hate to lose the school. piece, that's all.
now you have another administration and their ideas may be
Yeah.
different than they were 4 years ago, so.
Okay,
And we have
thank
another
you.
agenda.
Yeah.
About what? Yeah.
I mean, here.
Oh, it's on the agenda for discussion under,
Okay.
yeah, we can talk more about it.
So next up is the committee reports. The finance committee met on Monday. We reviewed each line of the library budget. There's one line that's actually a little over budget, but we have quite a few months to deal with that. And it's a one-time expense. So it's an annual thing and it kicked in early in the budget year. We explained that a couple months ago, but all the rest of the budget lines are fine. To date, to help Evelyn a little bit, I threw together a budget spreadsheet because she was going to make an attempt to try to keep a flat budget. And that's basically impossible because salaries make up, to my surprise, just about 80% of the budget. And by the time you add salaries, utilities, building maintenance, communications, that's like 95% of the library budget. So buying books and some of the other things are like 5% of the total budget. Which, I mean, I knew the salary number was a big number, but to see it be 79.12% or something was kind of amazing.
Did I see, I feel like I saw something, and you can tell me if I was dreaming this, that there was something where Evelyn's going to need to justify the staff?
Well, no, what I said was, it was in my email to the finance
Okay, that was
committee,
connected to this, yeah.
was the staffing levels were something that Irene was always keying on. Now, it's obvious why. And I would suspect that when she meets with Todd to go over the budget line, it's a new administration, he doesn't necessarily have all the same information that Evelyn provided to Irene. So she should be, in my case, I would prepare to have all of that information with her so that she can show him, we're open this many hours, we need 2 people in the building, for every hour of opening, and so that she can justify to him that this is something that's been looked at over and over and over again. Because we don't want to go backwards and lose people, because even though we got the interns funded in this year's budget, it's still marginal in terms of personnel, because if we have a person out, we had one of our librarian staff at the Rathbun that was out for a little while, and then you have somebody else get sick, what do I do? Because you don't have enough people to do the coverage.
And have we brought staffing up enough so that Evelyn's director's job now has you supported well enough that you're able to get back into what you needed to be working on?
Mostly, although this week was because we had so many programs and people were out setting up for other programs. It was a tight week, so it fluctuates a little, but generally I would say yes. I also want to point out that it's not really 80%, it's 71.
70, it's almost 72.
Close to 72. And the one underneath it, which says other professional technical staff, it's not staff.
It's not really staff, it's line.
It's our consortium with line, so that's not personnel.
I mean, that's the line in the budget, the verbiage on those is right out of the budget spreadsheet, but it's not people. So
72 is a little less than 80, but.
So 72 for the people, but then by the time you add all these pieces that inflation is going to hit, that was my argument, is, the staff is going to get their 2.5%, 2-3%, whatever raised in the town mandates, which we don't control, because the staff are town employees. And then you figure utility increases on the cost of books, and other materials that they buy that are, inflation isn't zero. And it's going to make it really hard to not see, but it's impossible to keep the dollar amount of the budget year the same. Because you've got that big of a, that was part of the argument, if you go back almost 20 years now, with the Board of Finance at that time, that before the library system was created, that they wanted us to talk about a single building, because there will be some decrease in the number of staff you need if you have the right design single building. If you have, a building with multiple floors, multiple rooms, if it's not a kind of more of a wide open space, well, then you aren't really going to affect your headcount too much. So the building design matters in terms of people. Next up would be governance.
Okay, we had a meeting and everybody received the minutes, and rather than reading it all, does anybody have any questions on the, we changed, one thing is we did change, and I noticed that the calendar, we filled in the calendar to change our meeting from September 7th to September 9th. We talked about orientation. And there's no need for it because all the current members are experienced, so that was good. And we talked about, again, we talked about this earlier, the vacancy is that we need to fill is either a Republican or independent, and we have a potential candidate. So that was the first thing we discussed. And then we are continuing to work on the manual review, and we will continue that to the next meeting. And there was no audience or citizens. Any questions?
Yeah, you said that you have a candidate that has,
Yes. Do you want to address that?
Sure. Barney had said that he was not on the board of finance, he would be willing to come back as an appointed trustee to the library board,
Yes,
if the library board wanted him.
yes.
is it okay for me to put that in the minutes for tonight's meeting?
What do you say, Juliana?
Well, I mean, you still
I
have,
don't think, why not? I mean, you've already spoken with him. I
Right.
think it's a matter of, you know,
going
he's
through the
gonna-
process.
Yeah, he's gonna have to fill out the application for the first selectman. And generally, the way, and it's an appointment by the first selectman, the entire board of selectmen. But in the past, they have always honored the Board of Library Trustees recommendation. So once he fills out the application, we'll take a vote as our board, which will go over to Mr. Gelston and the rest of the Board of Selectmen.
And I spoke with him, and Evelyn spoke with him, so he is interested, so.
Yeah, I think it'll be a December action item.
Okay.
Thank you.
I had another point regarding the calendar, which we're going to vote on later. And John, I realized you had actually done it after I also did it. So we both did it.
Yeah, but I did it
But
in
was
September.
Yeah, and I did it a few weeks ago, which was okay because I moved the governance meeting had actually moved. Anyway, there is one conflict. Governance has resolved theirs for September. September 7th is Labor Day, and the Finance Committee, so John and Dawn. I don't know if you want to follow suit and move to a Wednesday, or what other day would work for you, or move back a week. I don't know. That would put you in August, though. What day you want to do in September?
Yeah, I mean, I'm free, you know, basically any day I can work around the meeting changing. Dawn is really the problem because she works on certain days. So I had reached out to her on email and asked her if she, because I think she works in the morning, so that wasn't going to work. So the real problem is that, you know, we have to pick a day when she's available, and I don't know when that is. So
I'd love to, because
the only
Kathy's
thing,
going to need this.
well,
so
yeah,
let's
I
put
think,
something kind of tentative in there, and we can change it if we
yeah,
need to.
I mean, I think what we should do when we get there is put something in there. So whether it becomes, you know, Tuesday at 4 or whatever, and then we'll just have to deal with it later so that we don't hold up getting the calendar to the town clerk.
Right. Yeah, I need to, ideally, we vote on the calendar tonight.
Yep.
So that I can get it ready for Kathy, and then we make that change just to the finance if we need to.
Right.
So you said Tuesday, do you want to move it to September 8th then for this calendar?
Yeah, that's what we've done in the past. When Bill was on the committee with me, that's what we had done.
Okay. Let's do that, and then if we have to change it,
Yeah,
we
I mean,
will
because,
change it.
you know, we have plenty of time between the beginning of the year and then to get that straightened out.
Yeah, so that's one thing that needs to be for tonight, is voting on that, just so I can get it to the town clerk on time. And the other thing that we're going to need, and it can be tentative, we don't need to change it, we can change it later, I just need to resubmit the paperwork, would be we need a chair and a secretary that you guys can send to me in the next couple weeks after the meetings, that would be fine as well. But we'll need a secretary and a chair for each committee that's submitted along with the calendars. And generally, we've done that voting in the actual committee meetings rather than this meeting.
Yeah, the committees pick their chair.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'll touch on briefly, and since I have everyone, I think everyone is kind of aware. Would it be a good time to go over the committees quickly?
Sure. It's really part of governance, so.
Right. So traditionally, governance has made recommendations as to the committee makeup. And obviously, you can have other opinions and we can change it and it doesn't have to stay that way the whole year. The way that what we're recommending this year is governance stays as is, Carrie, Shay, and myself. We recommend Alice, Mary, and Laurel for public relations.
All right, I'm writing all this down, so bear with me just a minute.
It's right here.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I don't have those.
That's because it came totally other.
Oh, all right, maybe I can get a copy. Sorry about that, Julia.
No worries, no worries. I can send it to you too if you'd like. And we're recommending for Board of Finance, or Finance Committee, recommending John and Dawn, and the vacancy, which theoretically might be Bill. Does anyone have questions about that makeup or any other discussion on that? We make that recommendation with knowing that, Laura, I know you've been on board of the Finance Committee and done great with that, but Bill's also been on that and done great. And I know you do a fabulous job working with Mary and supporting Mary in the public relations, and you know a lot of people in town, and I think you do great on that as well. So that's sort of where our thinking was coming from.
Yeah, that's fine. I figured I was getting kicked off for missing so many meetings.
No, I think you'd be great on both of them. But we need a great partner for Mary on the public relations committee, and I think you'd be fabulous.
Julianne, I have concerns about whether or not Alice will be able to continue, so we just need to take that.
Yeah, we have to have her in there as a placeholder. Whether she attends a meeting is a different question. But while she's still on the Board of Trustees, she's still a member of the committee. And if she doesn't attend, that's okay. If you have Laurel and Mary, yourself, you would have quorum, and it's okay with just two.
And we could also just have her be a phone in. That'll make it
She-
easier for her.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Just to keep her on it.
Yeah, because she has to be on a committee as a member of the board.
Right.
So we've got a placeholder there, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back on mute.
Thank you, Julianne.
Public relations board?
Okay. We did not have a meeting this last time because there was no meeting. But I did talk to Alice and Laura, we'll get together and talk about some of the guidelines I wanted to see and really going forward so that we have a firm idea of what our goals are and how we're going to approach them going forward. So this is guidelines that got from what the goal of the public relations are according to Lagrange. And we'll go through them, filter them, see how we can actually implement them and when we can start. And some of them are pretty, promote library offerings. We'll kind of do that anyways, but they say utilize social media and digital platforms. So,
We do that in
The libraries do that.
yeah. And maintain positive image. Kind of do that. Advocate for funding. We can go through this. There are a lot of good ideas. There's some that just don't apply to us at all. Too small, but we can come up with a game plan and move forward with it. That's the end of my report.
Carrie's turn.
Various story. Okay, for the Friends, we had our book sale over Columbus Day weekend. We took in all donations, $3,471.10. So far, the expenses were $183 with $150 for the name who comes to pick up. I'm waiting, he said I have to have an invoice before I send off the check for $150. And normally it's cash on delivery, but they don't pick up when they're supposed to. So, we've got to look into alternatives. And then again, they also had trouble having enough people with setting up, moving the books. They've got 50 boxes stored over in here somewhere for a spring sale, which will, I'm not sure when that's going to be. It hasn't been decided. But Barbara was adamant that these books could not go elsewhere. They're such good books. And we did make about $600 more than last year's. Then last Saturday was the author book show, which was a combination of the two groups. We had so many people help set up, many people help clean up, including some of the authors. It was basically putting tables and chairs in, and that's easy. We had 2 last-minute no-shows with no reason. And then one came in that was sent out, Virginia sent out a last-minute thing, so we've decided we need a waiting list. So, yeah. And,
Yeah, you should probably ask them to notify you at least X hours.
yeah, well, like,
days
one was the
before.
day before because he got sick.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, things like that.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. We had the Cub Scouts who do a bake sale on one corner, and there was so much food. And the kids were outside with adult supervision, holding up signs, so I think it was worth their while. And then Twin Beaks Food Truck, which does chicken, they raise their own chickens, and they had chicken strips and homemade french fries. And I guess they did okay. Not as many people of the public were there as last year. But everybody seemed, they all get together, they talk at different times, and the reviews, I guess, were good. And, you know, Don Barlow's going to be Mrs. Claus again, and we, as our friends group, Lewis was by the little animals, but we don't advertise. And we had 2 new members. One started back during book sorting, and we just had one started our November meeting, and they were both jumped in full, both feet, and helping like crazy. Very excited. One of the women used to work at the Lewis Post Office. And so, I can't remember the last name, but
She's the front page of the newspaper last week.
Oh, it's her.
no, that was,
She's
no,
the
that
one
was
who
Marlene.
data.
That's
That was
Marlene.
Marlene.
Oh, no, Pam hasn't worked there in a
No.
long time, but yeah, she's very enthusiastic. So that's been really great. That's it. Any questions?
No, I think I got it all.
Okay.
One fast, but it's really fast.
A unfinished business, the 25-26 budget, between Evelyn and me with the finance report, we kind of covered that, so.
I'll put the rest friends.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, she's the liaison for now.
Okay.
It says report, it doesn't say reports.
Oh,
Oh, it's okay.
who sent the agenda out?
All right, so it's, it's okay. All right, so just talking about the Pond Hamlet, that was very, very successful. They said that all of the venues, the hula hoop, any of face painting, the balloon lady, everybody, there were long lines to have people in line to get, to have all those things happen for them. They had a backdrop, which I didn't make it over this year. I'm not really sure what the backdrop was. I know that they talked about buying one so that it was supposed to be some sort of a haunted house scene, so you could go and have your children in a costume have a selfie in front of this backdrop. So this was the first time they did that, and that was very successful. And also they did a costume parade, which I think is also fun. And they've never done that before. I'm assuming that they just went around the perimeter of the library but not, not too much. Altogether, they estimate that they spent over $2,000 for supplies to run. Do you want me to wait up, Lynn?
Yeah, she's fine.
And the next thing that they talked at their meeting was about the author thing. Disappointing that there were not a lot more people that showed up.
And it was well publicized, I mean, they had flyers everywhere, and
Was there anything else going on in neighboring towns or anything? I wonder
Not that I
if there was
know
any
of.
competition.
Do you think that there was any influence from, wasn't there another author showcase relatively
Yes.
recently?
Right, yes,
Wrestling cats.
And I talked to Billy about that, but she didn't feel, being an author at this one too, that it wasn't an influence. We're kind of wondering the economy at the time, right now, that things were going on, like the shutdown, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And people were out doing that.
Just
We
people
also,
more nervous.
yeah, we were also, I looked at the calendar a week earlier than last year doing our showcase, so I don't know if that was an influence.
Was it too close to Halloween? You know what I'm thinking? People are,
They're busy with other
you're
stuff.
busy with your children and things like that, and then if there's a lull, then maybe make it a different, a week.
Yeah, because I did look, and so it was a week later, a little bit that much closer to Christmas, so, who knows? And Billy had only a couple of the authors that we had at ours, so she had a whole other group of authors.
You're talking about two different events. Billy is.
Billy Kowalski, who did one in front of Wrestling Cats, is a fundraiser for the food bank.
Okay.
That was her purpose, was to have something to give to the food bank. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Any input is valuable. The holiday market again is coming up on the 22nd. This year they have 30 vendors, which is amazing. So I don't know if a lot of them are still going to require cash or be able to use a credit card or a Venmo, which would be ideal if they could start doing that.
Venmo was difficult to use in the range. They were having trouble, some of them were having trouble getting
Internet
the
connection.
internet connection to our service, so that was an issue. So,
Because I know a lot of them just want cash. So come with lots of money. And there was one comment here that you were asked to co-sponsor the activity at the Christmas event. Okay, and they did address that at the meeting, and after discussion, they voted that they would not support it, but they would instead give a donation to the Christmas Village event for $250 instead of supporting the other one, because that was going to be in proximity to the Rathbone, as opposed to the municipal.
That's fine, but we're still sponsoring. Right, so the library
The
itself is.
library system's going to sponsor it.
Okay. And they're still looking into the marionettes for January and February. Nothing's been established yet. No puppet show has been scheduled. And it's always a tricky time, weather-wise.
Because
but
of the
then-
weather.
Then you do it in the spring, and then you've got all the other conflicts. But it's so worth it. It's just wonderful, and it should probably be more advertised because it's such a wonderful event. And that's it. And just that's the end of that report. They did change their meetings. I will just add this. They did change their meetings to a Tuesday. But Janice just said she was gonna keep me updated on everything, because Tuesday's a hard day for me to get there.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any update on the CLC strategic planning cohort?
Well, we were certainly busy addressing all the community outreach that we had promised to do, so we're meeting our goals.
Good.
And it's about time to start planning for the next year of meeting our strategic plan, so that will be on our agenda for starting in January.
I don't think there's really anything. The new library facility, there's nothing really, other than you had a quick conversation with the new first selectman. You haven't, nothing's really happened with that right now.
No, in fact, is he currently, when does that actually take effect?
They were inducted Monday night?
Monday night we were sworn in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw your picture.
So does that when he starts, like the
Yes.
next day?
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be there was no delay.
It was like the next.
The next day, the selectmen took
Yeah,
over,
this
which
year,
was,
it's like this whole.
which
weird-
was insane, because
Yeah.
it could be somebody that had never been involved, and now you're dropping in and running a $40 million budget, and you don't know anything about it. So they changed the
To have a little.
process to have a little bit of a buffer between the election and the swearing in and taking over, to try to allow a transition time.
I don't know anything about this. Todd Riddle, has he held an office before?
Todd was on the board, he was chair of the board of finance. So he's now on first selectman.
In the meeting, I think he expressed that he really agreed that we need a new library, and he was for it, and it should be, not fancy, but substantial, have space around it to expand if needed. The libraries are very important for kids especially, because it encourages them to read, and you have to use their brains, in order to figure things out and learn things. He was quite supportive. And he's also a library historian.
Yeah, his background is engineering management, so he's had management experience managing people. So hopefully that'll be helpful.
I've had a couple of people say, because they love the two old buildings, that, we see some modernistic thing take over, but to be able to keep.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things on the new library study committee that we talked about, that, if you built it next to the Grange, let's say, you wouldn't build a big steel and brick building because it wouldn't fit the neighborhood.
Well, that's historic, isn't it, over there too? Historic.
Yes.
So they got, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, see, used to have three libraries not in the historic district, but the Rathman is. So that impacted the libraries a few years ago when when the boiler failed at the Lewis Library, 5 or 6 years ago, whatever it's been now. They were able to put the mini splits around the building to provide heating and cooling. When they went to try to do the same thing in Rathman, they couldn't, because the historic district, you can't have the condenser units outside visible from the street because it's the historic district. So they could only put them behind the building where they would be visible from the road. And that led to suboptimal design, which then potentially necessitated the need to keep the oil burning steam
And pipes.
And last year, which was the first year, first winter, they literally turned the boiler off because it was broken. They didn't pay to get it fixed until the pipes froze and outside walls because in a 100-year, almost 100-year-old building, there's no insulation in the walls. And I don't believe there's any info on the cuts to the IMLS.
No. It's not, it's just,
It's-
basically just BMP.
Right.
They wrote a budget to probably shut themselves down. So they just immediately.
Yeah, there was an article in the New York Times 2-3 days ago about impact on rural libraries, small libraries, where they got, like on Indian reservations, for instance, and some other places that we're talking about, where they got a huge percentage of their funding from IMLS. And they're closing because they just, there's no money to keep them going. Because the Indian reservation funding or whatever just can't cover the loss of the federal dollars. I was going to say that to you, but it doesn't specifically do with the Black House 6 million because a lot of it didn't get any funding. So now Juliana can wake up again and we can start talking about the new calendar.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone has had a chance to take a look at the calendar, yes?
Yes.
Okay. John, I think we're at a point, I'd love to just vote on it, realizing that there could be changes, and then once the committees meet, if they could send me over the name of the chair and secretary, I'll pass that on to the town clerk. But yeah, if we could just do a vote to approve, I can make that motion. Make a motion to approve the calendar, the 2026 calendar as sent out to the board.
Second?
Second.
I don't think we have any discussion,
Any
right?
discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Unanimous.
Awesome. I have one more item, and that is generally in November we have, so I'm going to move to add an item to new business, and that being officers for the board. And I'd actually, I had intended to vote on it tonight. I'm actually going to suggest that we wait until December when we have Dawn back and then we have filled hopefully our vacancy, giving them a chance to also be there for that vote and just leave everybody in place until next month if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I personally
next
rather
month
have
anyway.
everybody here.
Okay, so we'll show that and I'll keep that in the agenda for next month and then hopefully we'll have everybody so everyone can give their opinion on that. Perfect. That's all I have.
Anybody email you?
Did you announce it at the beginning?
Oh, it's on the post. I'm new to this stuff.
Oh, okay.
No, there were no emails.
So we have no audience of citizens. So I move to adjourn,
Second,
What time is it?
7:29.
just got in under the wire. Just the meeting was supposed to be an hour long.
Oh yeah, that's a rule?
Thank you, Juliana. And I'll hang up now.